I'm Congresswoman Julia Brownley. Welcome to my digital teach-in. This weekend, we celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In honor of Dr. King's fight for economic justice, I'm answering your questions about the Republican tax bill that was recently signed into law and its impact on working families here in Ventura County. I've invited some of my colleagues in Congress to join the teach-in to share their perspectives on this new law.
I'm pleased to join with Congresswoman Brownley today on behalf of Martin Luther King Weekend. She is one of the most highly regarded members of Congress, and time and again we've had a chance to talk about the recent tax bill that was passed in Congress and signed into law by the President. I wanted for just a couple of moments to contrast with you how the 1986 Tax Act played out as opposed to what was done here in less than 1 month. In 1986, with a Republican president and a Democratic Congress, the opportunity arose with the acknowledgement, as was the case now, that the current tax code was underproductive and inefficient. But in 1986, over a 2-year period, there were 450 witnesses who offered testimony. There were 30 hearings, and Jim Baker and Donald Reagan, the President's Chief of Staff and the Secretary of the Treasury, they actually sat through the markup with Mr. Rostenkowski, Mr. Bradley, Mr. Gephardt, and a Republican Senator, Bob Packwood. This past December, when the bill was marked up, there was not one public hearing, there was not one witness who offered testimony, and it was done on a party line vote. It's hard to argue that this is middle-class tax relief when you consider that the top rate was dropped from 39.6% to 37%, when the exemption on the estate tax was doubled from $11 million to $22 million, meaning that a couple can now keep $22 million without tax. The additional argument was that this was about simplification. It could be done on a postcard. When you look at what happened, you'd be dubious as to whether or not this could have occurred even on a billboard. That's how complex the new system is about to be for the average filer. So Dr. King made a very salient point when he talked about economic justice and racial justice. He suggested that I think is this very important example. He said, what good does it do to get to the lunch counter if you don't have the money in your pocket to buy a hamburger and a coffee? And I think that's part of what we acknowledge on this weekend. The idea that this tax bill is more complex, concentrates more wealth in fewer hands, and is not tax reform. It's a tax cut for the wealthy. So I'm delighted that Julia is doing this, and I hope that you'll have a chance to properly memorialize Dr. King and simultaneously call attention to economic injustice.